Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to today's live stream here on the top lessons learned from the 2021 PMP exam. By the end of today, I want you to be able to describe what to expect on the 2021 PMP exam. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Cornelius Fichtner. Welcome again, and thank you very much for joining me here today. Always nice to be with you. And I have been a PMP trainer since about 2008, something like that. And since January of this year, I have gone through various online forums and I've read lessons learned from people who have taken their PMP exam in 2021. I created this really long, over 100 slide long presentation with all the lessons learned that I have. But today you're going to get the condensed version. I went through this and I took a hard look at these things. I said, okay, which out of these is the most important one? And I categorized them. I think I have about 17 categories that we want to go through and look at today. So here is our agenda. So from those who have passed the 2021 exam, we are going to look at a selection of the top lessons learned. I'm also going to try and give you tips here and there on how to apply these to your personal exam prep. And in that way, you know exactly, what does this mean for me, this particular lessons learned? How do I apply this? What do I do in that regard? I also have some study strategies at the end. I'm going to show you what you need to do and how you can study and prepare for the PMP exam. And I have a take action as well that will help you to pass your PMP exam, as well as recommended study materials as always. Okay. And to get us going, I wanted to mention that we now have the PM Prepcast training and the PM Prepcast exam simulator available on our website at a discount. And let me bring up the website here quickly. There we go. If you go to pmprepcast.com, you'll see this big blue box right there, save $50. So our Prepcast training at the moment is $229. You can't see that. Let me make this a little bigger. There we go. It's big enough already, but on this screen here, it looks like it's too small. So for right now, it's $229. Regular price is $279. And the Elite, which includes the training and the exam simulator, is $299 right now, and that will go up to $349 later in the year. But now back to our presentation and back to the top tips for the 2021 PMP exam. So these are the big, huge tips that I have for you. Yet we're going to start with a really small one. This is a brand new one that I only learned about yesterday. It's when you are done with the exam and, the congratulation message shows up on the screen. You're now a PMP. I don't know if you can see this, but there is a tiny little, two tiny little words on the congratulations. And it says, you passed, in really small letters. And the reason for this is this here. So I only learned about this yesterday. Once you pass the PMP exam, it looks like, in my case, when I took it, there was a huge announcement, congratulations, big on the screen. They must have changed that because it's now in small text. It says, congratulations in small text on your screen, okay? You will receive complete breakdown of your score within 3 days. So make sure that you don't miss that because it's no longer big. It is now small. Okay, and with this brand new lesson learned from just yesterday here, let's begin with the top lesson learned. First of all, we're starting with the question types. And PMI changed the question types in 2021. If you took the exam in 2020, there was one question type. A question, 4 answers, A, B, C, D, pick the best one. Now there are 5 question types: multiple choice, multiple correct, drag and drop, click on a chart, and even questions where you have to type in like a number. The answer is 12, so you type in the number 12. Okay, so this is important to know because you have to somehow practice these. And my big recommendation here is this: as always, you cannot practice most of the new question types on paper. You need an exam simulator. And as always, at this time when I start mentioning exam simulators, yes, I have an exam simulator, but so does Dan Ryan, PM Training, Andy Crow, Rita Mulcahy. All the big training providers have exam simulators. So do make sure that you invest in a good exam simulator. There you go. Talking about a simulator, Irene asks, any discount code for the Prepcast simulator only? Irene, June 1st, we will publish a new discount coupon on our Prepcast website. Let me bring that up. If you go here at the top under PMP, let's see, where is it? Do we have a discount coupon? Not on here. I don't actually see it, but it's simple. It's just /discount coupon. There we go. So /discount coupon. There you go. And you'll end up on this page. And then you scroll down, and that's where you will find the discount coupon. Okay. And yeah, you need an exam simulator, because without an exam simulator, you cannot practice these question types. Moving on. Next topic, question style. All right. And by the way, please do interrupt me. Please do use the chat box, ask questions, just like Irene did here. I'll bring it up and I'll happily answer any questions that you may have. So question style. What do we now know? We now know that memorization will not help you pass the PMP exam. When I took the exam back in 2004, I knew the PMBOK guide backwards and forwards. I knew every single ITTO by heart. That is no longer the way to study. The PMP exam nowadays relies on your experience as a project manager, as the foundation of what you know. And then on top of that, you have to have your theoretical knowledge, your understanding of how project management should be done. There are sometimes should be done, and this is how we actually do it. So there's a little bit of book knowledge is required. And then you have to be able to combine the two. And most often or not, you have to select the best answer out of the many that are there, right? So what you really need is a good foundation, stamina, critical thinking skills. That is what's required in the 3 hours and 50 minutes that it takes you for this exam. Kate asks, does the Prepcast simulator have drag and drop practice questions? Yes, it does. And we are learning more and more in regards to how many of these questions PMI actually has in the real exam, and we're trying to match it. So you don't see dozens and dozens of those. You just see the appropriate number based on what we get from lessons learned back from folks. Okay, moving on to our next topic. Like I said, there's just one tip in each topic, and this one is about question difficulty. This is something that you need to prepare for, because never at any time did I feel, oh yeah, no brainer, I totally know this question. Most people actually come back from the exam and they go, yeah, I thought I failed. It's just so hard and difficult and different, and I really thought that I had failed this exam. And we'll talk about self-doubt in just a moment, and I'll come back to this. But the most important thing to understand is, this is something that you will be facing during the exam. So get mentally prepared for this. Understand that, this is what I am looking forward. Okay. Gypsy asks about the simulator. I bought the simulator on May 11th. Will I be able to get the discount, price adjustment? No, you cannot. Gypsy or Ipsy, I apologize. The discount coupons are only available on the day of the purchase. We do accept them like 3 days. So if you buy it on the 30th of May and then you come to us on the 1st of June and say, I've missed the simulator discount coupon, we'll give it to you. But May 11th, that's almost 3 weeks. That is outside of the discount coupon policy. We do have a discount coupon policy. Please take a look at that and you'll see exactly that you are quite outside of the allowed time frame there. Okay. We go. Kathy, oh, thank you very much, Kathy. Also, quick regards to, is there any way to print or save proof you passed? I heard you mention in other podcast not to take photo with your phone, right? Okay, so this is about the real exam. No, you can't do it. When you take it from home, you will not be able to print anything, I believe. You should not try and take a screenshot. You should not try and take a photo of the UPass message. This is something that is done fully electronically. If you are at the testing center, they will hand you a printout, but not online. Okay, moving on. Many people actually think that the exam is oftentimes harder and that the sample questions are easier. Here's the lesson learned. The actual exam questions were a bit shorter than the one on the practice tests, but in a way, practicing longer tests will make your exam feel a bit easier. The main problem that we have here is the exam vagueness. And this is actually the next topic coming up right after that. So this is a good segue into that. We, as a provider of an exam simulator, and everybody else as well, we have one problem. We know that the PMP exam questions, the real ones, are really vague. If I give you the exact same vagueness on my exam simulator, you're going to be really upset. You're going to come right to me and say, this is stupid. How am I supposed to answer these questions? They're too vague. How is anybody supposed to know this? This question makes no sense. These answers don't match the question. Then you go take the real exam and you'll come back to me and you'll go, I would like to apologize. You were right. That is exactly what I saw on the PMP exam. All right. So let's move on to that because that's the next topic here. Question vagueness. Right there. Let me make this bigger. It's a bit too small to read in this one here. You can read through this on your own right now. But basically, this person says, I was really good in the exam simulator. This one used reasonable case simulator, but it would be the same with ours or anybody's. And basically he said, I was good in the simulator. And then when I took the real exam, it's like, OMG, these questions make no sense. The answers make no sense. I have no idea what to choose. This is so vague. How is anybody supposed to know this? Right? So this is something that you have to be aware of. This is coming your way like a freight train, right? You will be hit with this feeling right there, okay? With this understanding, with this fact. Our next topic is the question content. So what is in the questions itself? I would just like to say that the people who are giving lessons learned, they're following the PMI code of ethics. So I have not seen anybody posting, too much or real questions or things like that. So they're being really, really good about not publishing stuff that they shouldn't publish. The question content, 90% of the questions these days are scenario based. In about 2016, this changed. Until 2016, the PMP exam was a lot about knowledge, about memorization, about being able to understand the books and being able to translate the books into the exam. Nowadays, it's scenario-based. It's experience-based. It really moves into that direction. Ever since 2016, 17, I started telling my students, don't memorize anymore. You have to understand how these things work together. Memorization doesn't help. Okay, if you can't remember the name of something, okay, you have to memorize that. That has to be in your brain. But you have to be able to connect things and bring things together, okay? And this is exactly what we see nowadays on the exam. Experience is needed, and 90% of the questions are scenario-based. What would you do next? What should you have done? What could you have done better? How could you have avoided this situation? Those type of questions are what you will see on the exam. And now the topic of self-doubt is next. Oh, here we go. Got another question, Gautam, before we get to self-doubt. When should I consider to be ready to take the exam? I have passed 2 of 3 PMP exams on the simulator and still not sure, feel like to take it soon. 75% is pretty much our recommendation. If you go into our simulator and you look at the near the bottom, sort of a little about a third from the bottom, there is a link that says statistics. Go to the statistics and then click on the tab on the far right. And you'll see that when you get about 75% correct in our simulator, on average, that means you can consider yourself to be ready for the real exam. Everybody is obviously different. Maybe, you need 80% to feel comfortable yourself. But statistically speaking, if you are at about 75%, you have about an 85 to 88% chance of passing your exam on the first attempt. I would assume that it is pretty much the same with all simulators out there. Self-doubt, back to this very important topic here. This is something that you have to be prepared for. Okay, this is what somebody wrote. Don't think about pass or fail when you're in the exam. Focus on the questions. Put yourself in the scenario. After the first third, so after the first 60 questions, I started thinking about how I was going to tell my boss that I failed and how I would tell my friends that I failed, and that distracted me. So don't think about anything other than the question you are answering at the time. Stay focused. So you need to keep your head in the game. You can't leave. You can't just start thinking about, oh my God, I'm failing. This is going so bad. If you do that, then this is what you need to do. You need to go into this expecting that this is going to happen. So expect self-doubt to come up several times during the exam. Here is what you do. So expect to reach a point at which self-doubt starts creeping in. You have to recognize this. And then close your eyes. Just breathe in, breathe out, continue. All right? Just breathe in, breathe out, relax. You got this. Move on. Remember, you have taken hundreds and hundreds of exam sample questions at this point. You've studied. You're an experienced project manager. You got this, right? Everybody tells pretty much the same story. I thought I had failed. I didn't really know whether I was answering correctly. And I ended up with 3 above targets, right? So you got this. You know that this works for you. Okay. Mohammed asks, do I have to spend much time or too long studying, or should I invest my time in practicing the questions? Mohammed, everybody is slightly different, right? Some people, they prefer to study and really, head down studying first and getting it done and then using the simulator. Others will sort of mix and match it together. It is completely up to you how you feel comfortable. One thing you can do is, start using the simulator you have and answer a few questions and see how well or how badly you are doing. And based on that, you can then say, oh, I got all of these questions wrong. They're all about procurement. Looks like I have to study procurement a bit more, right? So use the statistics that the simulator offers in order for you to learn more about it. Sonny, given the long questions and their vagueness, are we allowed to search Ctrl+F for keywords, Agile Hybrid, on our exam screen? No, you cannot do that. You will have to just scan the screen and find those questions yourself. I believe on the real PMP exam, however, there is a highlight function. If we have somebody here who has taken the PMP exam recently, if you remember how the highlight function works, please let us know. Okay. There's also a strikeout function, like, A, B, C, D. C is definitely incorrect. You can strike that out. I think you have to press W or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Again, if somebody is here who's taken the exam, if you remember the keystrokes that you have to go through, that would be good to know. All right. sorry, you can't even see this. Exam content outline is next. The exam content outline is the basis for the PMP exam. If it is not in the ECO, the exam content outline, it is not on the PMP exam, which is why I was pretty surprised when I saw this here. There was a question that referenced personality indicators. I never saw anything about this tool in any of my studying. Now, personality indicators are things like Myers-Briggs and DISC and things like that, where you identify what your character strengths are. Okay. And yeah, they are, in fact, in the exam content outline. And here's my tip for you. Print the exam content outline. Take out, literally print it on a piece of paper, about 20 pages long. Then take a highlighter. Everything that you know in the exam content outline, highlight it with green. Everything that you're kind of, should probably learn something about this, yellow. And everything that you have never heard of before, got to go in red. If it is in the exam content outline, you must know it. In the end, your whole exam content outline has to be green, because that then means you have the exam content outline studied. Okay. Randall asks, is the exam simulator based on PMBOK 6 or PMBOK 7? Randall, that is the wrong question. The exam simulator is based on the exam content outline. The PMP exam is not a test of the PMBOK guide. The PMP exam is a test of the exam content outline. So our exam simulator is based on the current exam content outline that went into effect on January 1st. And I can tell you that everybody else is doing exactly the same thing. Read'em OK, Andy Crow, PM Training, all their exam simulators are based on the exam content outline. Okay, so this is a very, very simple statement. The PMBOK guide is only a reference book and not the thing that is tested on the exam. Moving on to the next topic, and this is a big one, Agile. If you read lessons learned about the PMP exam 2021, then Agile dominates lessons learned, right? Everybody writes about Agile and everybody says about how important it is. All right. Let's take a look at the top tip that I have for you. A general tip would be to have a good knowledge of Agile and Scrum methodologies, as well as the roles and responsibilities for the players within the team. Okay, and we'll get to that later on again. But what I would like to recommend to you is you really want to, wait, I have sticky notes all over this thing. You really want to study the Agile Practice Guide. Okay, this is the book that comes along with the PMBOK guide. If you buy the printed version, it's in the same shrink wrap. If you download the PDF version from the PMI website, it's just in the same document. Part 3 is the Agile Practice Guide here. So you want to study this. And you also want to go to scrumguides.org. And scrumguides.org, look at the 2020 Scrum Guide. Again, we'll repeat that at the end. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Kathy asks about the virtual whiteboard there. Yes, we do have a link for you. And I promised my colleague Shannon that I would not type in any links. And there she goes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shannon, for typing it in. It says pmprepcast.com/whiteboard, and that'll take you to the Pearson VUE whiteboard. All right. Gautam asks, he would like to have 2 breaks. Auto submission in my simulator. I keep on eating extra training while attempting the PMP exam on the simulator. At this point, Gautam, we are not planning on doing this because, and this is my expectation, once the pandemic is over and the testing centers are fully open again globally, PMI will stop offering the PMP exam online. That is my prediction. This is just a gut feeling. I have no data to really, to be 100% sure about this. But my gut feeling says PMP exam online will go away again. And at that point, the 2 breaks will go away as well. So we're not going to adjust the exam simulator now for a few months, and then PMI is going to take it offline again and remove those breaks again. So that is why we do not have these breaks right there. Okay, back to the tips. So Agile, really big. One thing that we have learned is you're not really all that good when it comes to Agile, right? Those people who prepare for the PMI ACP exam are better at Agile questions than PMP students. What a surprise, right? Somebody who's preparing for an Agile exam is better in Agile than somebody who's preparing for a generalist exam. Duh. Still, our statistics show this quite clearly. And here we go. We have a number of questions that are exactly the same in our Agile simulator and PMP simulator, because there's only so much you can ask about a burn down chart. Might as well use the same question, right? Here you can see that 72 questions, 72% correctly answered for PMI ACP, 48 only for PMP, 67 for ACP, 36 for PMP. So that means you need to study a lot more Agile. Agile is important. Read the Agile practice guide, read the Scrum guide, and make sure that you understand Agile. That makes or breaks your exam. Next is hybrid. Yes, there is Agile and there are also hybrid questions. And here you go. Many questions about a traditional project management team moving to Agile or hybrid methodology. So how do you go from a plan-driven project to a Agile project? How do you go from plan-driven to hybrid? Those are the kind of questions that you will get, and you need to understand how to answer. So this is an important topic. Agile and hybrid is there. The good news is there is a topic that is becoming less and less important, and that is formulas and the calculator. 5 years ago, if you had asked me, do I need to know the formulas for the PMP exam? I would have told you, oh yeah, you do. Expect about 15 questions on formulas and calculations, and you have to know how to use the calculator and on all of that. That has changed completely, because today, this is what we see. No full math questions at all, and I did not use the calculator for even a single question. What you need to be able to do, however, is you need to be able to analyze things. If I tell you the CPA on your project is X, what does that mean? The SPI is Y. Now what are you going to do? Right? Understand how to interpret results from formulas. That's what you required. Okay. Will the new version of the PMBOK will be released affect the PMP exam? Okay. Mohammed, we have an official statement from PMI, right? We have an official statement from PMI, and PMI says no. There is an FAQ out there from PMI, and question number 17 in that FAQ clearly states, the release of the PMBOK Guide 7th edition will have no major effect on the PMP exam. Okay, so that is the official statement that we have from PMI on that topic. Definitions and ITTOs are our next topic, and here somebody says, I didn't study the ITTOs at all. They're good to know from a 30,000-foot view, but don't stress over time. There may be subtle references, but not a lot. Again, this is exactly what I'm telling my students. Don't memorize. Understand. How do things connect? How do these things work together? You need to have an executive level understanding of these ITTOs and the process flows, and where am I? And is this an agile question, or is this a hybrid question, or is this a waterfall-based, traditional, plan-driven question? Where am I in all of these processes, and what would I do in this particular situation, right? So you do really not need to know, like I had to, every single ITTO by heart. Mohammed keeps insisting, when will the PMP exam be changed after the new release of the PMBOK guide? I can only repeat what I have said just a moment ago. according to PMI, the release of the PMBOK Guide 7th edition will have no major effect on the PMP exam. Therefore, the answer is never. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for putting this up. I recently did a live stream with Sierra Hampton-Simmons from PMI, and she answered that question about the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. So please do click on that link and take a look when we're done here with this live stream, so you can see exactly what PMI says and how they answer it. Sierra Hampton-Simmons, by the way, she is the top person at PMI, and she is responsible for the PMP exam. So taking the exam online is another topic that we have. Be prepared that you're going to have to wait. So when you log in to the online exam environment, be prepared that you will be maybe, I don't know, there are 35 people ahead of you in line, okay, waiting to get registered and get their exam going, okay? And be prepared that you're going to be sitting there for 15, 30 minutes, maybe waiting for them. Oh, and by the way, very important, okay? This is how you'll be sitting there. You'll just be sitting there. You won't be doing anything. You'll just be absolutely bored. The moment you do this, you have just failed your PMP exam. You moved out of the camera as you're waiting to be let in. You do never move out of camera. You do never stand up unless you are taking a break, the official 2 10-minute breaks. But beyond that, you are going to be on camera all the time. And talking on about breaks and time management, okay? There are now 2 breaks in the PMP exam. Both are 10 minutes long, after question 60 and again after question 120. My recommendation, do not skip those breaks. Some people, they go to question 60 and they say, yeah, I want to continue. Move on. Question 61, right? No. Yes, I would like to take a 10-minute break. Even if you just spend a minute or 2 just relaxing, letting everything drain and going and doing all of that. Okay. Getting a lot of questions about whether or not we're recording this. Yes, it is being recorded, and you'll be able to watch the full recording both on YouTube and on Facebook. So no worries. Okay. Yes. So very important. Take the breaks. Get up. If you're at home, get up, go to the bathroom, have a drink, which I'm doing right now. And make sure that you decompress during those 10 minutes and, breathe in, breathe out, relax a little. Moving on. Okay. Ending the exam is next. Okay. And here we go. What do we have? This is important. After you click end and see your results, stay in the camera view until you get through the last steps and the system closes down. Okay? This person moved and was almost disqualified. Here is something else I don't want you to do. Okay? All right, I'm sitting here, I'm taking my exam. It says, congratulations on the screen. I'm going to reach for my phone and I'm going to take a picture of the phone. I have just failed my PMP exam. You do not reach for your phone. You do not take a screenshot. You do not take a picture of the screen. You're just sitting there and you're going to follow the rules from start to, otherwise you'll finish, you'll fail the exam, right? So that is really what you want to do. Okay. Mohammed asks, does the Prepcast cover every bit of the PMBOK guide? I'm planning to consider the Prepcast only for my studies, so I'll go for the simulator. Okay, so that is a question regarding our training products. Let me bring that back up. So on the homepage here, we offer 2 Prepcasts. Wait, let me get this out of the way here, Mohammed. We offer the Prepcast Basic. The Prepcast Basic is only the training. This covers everything that you need to know for your PMP exam. It covers the PMBOK guide, it covers Agile, it goes even beyond than that. It is roughly 50 hours of training. Okay. And then we have the Elite. The Elite includes everything in the Basic, so it's the training and also the exam simulator. If you want both training and simulator, I recommend getting the Elite. Then, use the training, go through all the training, and use the simulator later. The simulator waits. So the simulated 90-day countdown does not start until you actually begin your first exam. There we go. Okay. PMP Exam Simulator. We talked about the PMP Exam Simulator enough, right, already. It's just people really like our simulator, but do your due diligence. There are other simulators on the market. Please do compare them. Make sure that it fits your budget, it fits your needs, and that you have the simulator that you need and want. Okay. And then my final tip, my final lessons learned from 2021 is this one right here. I mean, this is so basic. I'm almost a little bit ashamed that I'm bringing this one up, but please do take time to carefully read each question. If you do not read the question properly, okay, then you will invariably choose the wrong answer. If you don't read the answer choices properly, then you won't be able to do that either. But you have to keep a decent pace. And again, that is why we want you to use an exam simulator, because in an exam simulator, you can, time yourself. You can make sure that you have the appropriate amount of time. Yep. Let's see. Right. Sudeep says, okay, I have enrolled, but only access free for the seminar. Yeah, that's a good idea. Exactly. That's what you should be doing. I plan to study first and then start the simulator. That's exactly what you should be doing. Gautam, should read all questions after taking PMP on the simulator? It's taking a lot of time to read all that. Oh, yeah, that's the most important bit, Gautam. You must. What good is it if you take questions in an exam simulator and you don't learn from it? The number one thing you want to do with an exam simulator is take a quiz and then review the quiz. Every single question you had wrong, you must look at. Why did I have this wrong? Why did I get this wrong? Every single question you guessed and just thought, yeah, I'll just pick A. I think A is right. You have to understand, why was A right? So this is not a waste of time. This is what you do. This is your preparation for the real exam. Learn from your mistakes and never repeat your mistake. That is the number one thing you want to do. Okay, Sudeep seems to have a problem with the 90 days. Please write to support. Forward that email to support and ask them. Okay. Kathy, when you take a test and it's a 5-minute brain dump, no, do not do a brain dump, Kathy. Brain dumps at this point are no longer possible because you have to brain dump it into the whiteboard, and there's just no way that you can do the brain dump. Watch the full exam lessons learned, where I talk about brain dumps a little bit more in detail there. Okay. And now, recommended PMP exam prep strategy. Okay, how do you prepare for the PMP exam? And now we're talking, you're starting today. Okay, today you're starting to prepare for your PMP exam. And this is how you are going to do this. Now, what's missing on this slide here in just a moment is at the bottom, there should actually already be a box now that, imagine there's a box there that says, your experience as a project manager. That is your foundation. This is where you start, okay? And then on this invisible box of your experience as a project manager, you are going to go and find a PMP exam prep training course, right? And you are going to study for the PMP exam using a course. This could be a live course. This could be the official course from PMI. This could be our on-demand prepcast course. This is the course that feels best to you, that makes sense for you, okay? On top of that, you are going to study the PMBOK guide and the Agile practice guide, because those are the two most important reference documents, and you really need to know these, okay? On top of that, you are going to study the Agile manifesto and the Scrum guide, Okay, and you will be studying the 2020 Scrum Guide. And then now you have your experience, the training course, we've got all the theoretical knowledge, and now you need to apply this. And the only way to apply all of this is you need a exam simulator. Samantha asks, can I extend the simulator beyond the 90 days? Yes. Everybody, I believe, any provider offers extensions. We offer a 60 and a 90-day extension. Sudeep asks, how many full exams can I take in the simulator? The simulator has 2,100 questions. 4 full exams are in there, and then we have roughly 1,000 questions in a separate question bank there. Okay. All right. So this is what you do when you start out fresh right now. Some of you, however, may have started last year, right? You may have studied in 2020 and then, life or the pandemic got in the way and you were unable to take the exam last year. So you now have to take it this year. So how do you do this? Well, same thing. You start with your experience at the bottom. On top of that, you have your 2020 studies, the things you studied last year, and now you need a booster course. You need something that teaches you the 2021 content, that lifts you up, that bridges the gap, that improves your knowledge from 2020 to 2021. So you need something there to boost your understanding of the 2021 exam. And then it's exactly the same above that. You have to study the PMBOK guide and the Agile practice guide, definitely. You want to look at the Agile manifesto and the Scrum guide. And guess what's going to be at the top of the screen again? Yes, that ever so important exam simulator. You will need that as well. And note the big difference. At the bottom, it says your 2020 studies. And at the top, it says 2021 simulator. If you have a 2020 simulator, don't use it. Forget it. Do not use your 2020 simulator because it's going to make you fail your exam. I mentioned earlier that we have about 2,100 questions, and Kehinde asks, are the remaining questions in the timed learning quizzes? Yes, that is correct. So you have 4 times 180 questions in the full exams, and the rest are in an ITTO quiz and in the timed and learning quizzes. That's exactly the way that works. Okay, so this is the study approach that you can take if you studied last year. All right, take action. Here's what I want you to do as you are preparing for the PMP exam. You need to find a reputable source that has experience in teaching the PMP exam. This could be really anybody out there, right? And then you want to take a PMP exam prep course that has a minimum of 35 hours. Remember what PMI did. Last year, PMI, or beginning of this year, PMI decided to add Agile into the PMP exam. They didn't take anything out. Everything that was in the PMP exam in 2020 is still in there. But now you have Agile on top of that, right? So 35 hours is really the minimum of training that you are going to need. Okay. Let's see. Then beyond that, you want to complement this with 3 to 5 weeks of self-study, okay? After you are done with the prep course, because you need to study, you need to use the simulator, that next bullet point down there, you want to study the Agile practice guide. You really want to make sure that you go over the materials again. It takes about 3 to 5 weeks, depending on how quickly and how much time you have available to do this. And then the final bullet point. I know this sounds simplistic, right? Take and pass your exam. That's so easily written as a bullet point on the screen here. But frankly, if you do this right, if you follow all the advice from other people, if you study hard, if you use an exam simulator, then this is truly no longer the hardest thing for you to do. Okay. Andrea says, I have taken all 4 exams in the simulator, but the question type to write an answer was not provided. That is correct. We do not have the limited fill in the blank type of questions because PMI in the beginning wasn't sure whether or not they are actually available. I do believe that PMI has examples of how these work on the website. Again, during my interview with Sierra Hampton-Simmons that I did 10 days ago, she mentioned that they have that, but I don't remember for the life of me where exactly they have these examples. Yeah, so we do not yet have the limited fill-in-the-blank questions because PMI at the beginning wasn't sure whether they were going to keep them, but it looks like they are here to stay. So it looks like we are probably going to have to bite the bullet and add them to our exam simulator as well. There we go. Okay, yes, and that's it for today. Thank you very much. Again, if you are interested in preparing for the PMP exam, my two recommendations are obviously my own two products, the PM Prepcast training and the PM Prepcast exam simulator. You can see the URLs here on the exam. Oh, Avi says there was only one question to fill in the blank on the real exam. Yeah, so they're very, very limited in terms of how many questions they are using. And let me also remind you that if you are planning on taking the exam or buying the Prepcast, basic or elite, that we are currently offering a $50 discount, but only for a limited time there. Okay, yeah, and that's it for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Been a pleasure once again to be with you this week and talk to you about the top tips from the PMP exam. Thank you, and until next time.